everybody. This is Jenna.
And I'm Noelle.
And this is More Than Murder, where we delve into everything eerie with a side of true crime.
More Than Murder is not your typical true crime podcast. Join us on a weekly tour through the haunted, the bloody, the creepy, and the nutty on our Freaky Fridays.
Hello.
Hello, Jenna.
So, I got a spooky one today.
You know, I'm glad because I am in the mood for spooks.
Awesome.
Yes, I am.
Even though it's snowing
I
outside.
am always in the mood for spooks. Always.
I agree. I agree.
It's always spooks time.
And this is a fun one.
You're supposed to tell ghost stories at Christmas time anyways, apparently, according to all the Christmas music.
That is true. You're right.
They do talk about telling
and there's
ghost
a lot
stories.
of lore around Christmas. Because I've been researching the Christmas episodes. So,
we should do like 4 Christmas episodes.
We should just record for like 4 hours
I
straight. Just keep it going.
And this one is.
Right into us, because we'll do it. If you want to see that, write in.
Yeah,
I will give you that
see
at
a 4-hour
end.
epi.
Yes.
It'll take a while for us to research it, so we better start now, but we'll get there.
Oh gosh, we would get there, yes.
Heck yeah.
Gosh.
All right, well, where are we going?
So, I'm pretty excited because we're going to Montana.
Okay.
Montana, USA, Big Sky Country.
Montana.
Yes, and I had a lot of fun researching this one.
Of course.
I found out a lot of really cool things that I never knew.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're going to a prison.
We love prisons.
A prison that was in operation for over 108 years.
Ooh.
Yes.
Decommissioned when, I wonder?
I think we'll get into that.
Just so I know.
We will get into that.
Okay.
So, prisons are synonymous, of course, with hauntings and dark energy.
Of course.
They are
riddled with
a
that
place with just, the darkest people, and crimes happened inside of these places as well.
Tormented souls.
So, yeah, it's going to get dark. And the place we're going today is called the Montana State Prison. And it's located in Deer Lodge, Montana.
Which, if y'all remember, back in our first episode, Carl Pan's Ram did a stint at the Deer Lodge, or A.K.A Montana State Prison.
Yes. And A.K.A the Montana Territorial Prison.
Ooh, that sounds scary.
That was the first name of the prison, and we'll kind of get into why it would have gotten that territorial part of it.
I remember you telling me a snippet, so I'm excited to learn the history.
It was so fun. And I have been to Montana, and I'm like, kicking myself in the butt because I didn't know this place existed.
I would have Googled that shit. I've been like, haunted places in Montana.
Well, we did, and that's why we went to like Panic and like other things. But
maybe it was like far away.
I don't think it was. Because the way that we drove up through Wyoming and like Yellowstone, I think we probably could have stopped there.
I can't believe it didn't come up.
I know, and I wish I knew all of this stuff like beforehand, but I don't.
I know.
And I'll just have to go back one day.
That's right.
So we're going to get into the background and history of the building and kind of Montana.
It's a beautiful building. I mean, the way that the top is structured for a prison looks like something that would be like in castles like way back then.
Yes.
To protect against like intruders.
And we'll get into like how high those walls were and like the building behind it. But in 19th century Western America, the lust for gold was very high.
Of course.
Families pioneered to the plains and prairies with the hope of striking it rich.
Okay.
The lawless West.
Meaning the West with no law.
Yeah, that's what it was.
The Wild Wild West.
Wild West. This was the perfect place as well for other types: gamblers, thieves, and murderers.
Lovely.
So, that money, that gold, that rich.
The train hoppers.
That's going to attract some savory characters.
Ooh, we got some cowboys coming.
So, at the time, Montana was part of the Idaho Territory.
Who-ho?
Idaho.
Oh, Idaho.
Idaho, not Udaho. Idaho. Yes.
Okay.
Part of the Idaho Territory.
That hoe.
That hoe.
That hoe Idaho. Not if anybody's named Ida.
No.
I actually do like the name Ida, though.
I like the name Ida, too. Yeah.
And you could say to her, Hoodaho, and she could be like, Idaho. Not that you want that, but still. Funny. Anyway.
I mean, yeah. So, it would not be its own territory until 1864.
Montana?
Yes.
Okay.
So, it was part of Idaho's territory.
Yes.
Just this huge, vast amount of land.
And until when?
1864.
1864. Okay.
Yep. So, in the 1800s, this is when the gold rush, that's when the West is really starting to flourish. People are moving over there a lot more. So, there had been no system put in place for criminality or criminal behavior. So people just ran rampant, did whatever they wanted to do, murdering people, stealing people, gambling, like, awful.
You could go to the sheriff's for one night because you're pissed drunk, but other than that, they probably won't do shit.
They didn't really have anything, no. What they did decide to do was, in fact, vigilante justice. So at this time, there are all of, like, those gangs.
Yes.
At the time, that are just running through these towns and just destroying things, killing people. And people were sick of it. There was no sheriff. There was no law around. So their sole purpose was, of course, to bring order to the lawless West. These groups would arrest and usually bring out executions by hanging. So just right there, right in the town square, hang them up. So think of that on the land.
Yeah.
So the Montana Territorial Legislature decided it was probably best to create a system of organized law enforcement. Get things in check.
Yeah.
Congress agreed to allocate the funds for a territorial prison to be built in Deer Lodge, Montana.
Okay.
So it was still a territory at the time, not yet a state. So that's why it's a territorial prison. And that's also why it took so long to get any sort of enforcement in Montana or in those territories, because it was like, whatever, it's just a territory.
Yeah.
Construction of the prison started in 1870. The structure was much smaller than originally planned, housing only 14 cells, and 1 month after opening, a year later in 1871, the prison was already experiencing overcrowding.
So the pictures I'm looking at, was it ever expanded upon? Am I looking at an expanded building?
Yes, we will get into that.
I was going to say, this looks like it would have a lot more than 14 rooms.
The thing is they always were trying to build onto it. Always, but they couldn't catch up to the crime that was happening and the people that they were housing in here.
Yeah. But this building is the final product.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
Yep, and we'll get into, I got that all in here.
Coming.
Yes. Coming. So, additions were built, but the overcrowding was still an issue as Montana's population grew. Once Montana became the 41st state in 1889, they realized the prison was expensive, and they didn't have time for that. They're like, we don't want this prison. I'm not really sure why, but I guess a young state was broke. I don't know. In February of 1890, the entire prison operation was contracted out to Colonel Thomas McTague and Frank Conley by yearly term. So apparently a lot of prisons did this when the state didn't want to run it. They would contract it out to other people, and those people would make money off of running the prison, and they could pretty much do whatever they wanted to do. I think they paid a sum to the state as well, but it was a very popular thing.
Bonkers, man.
I was gonna dive deep into it, but I already had to dive deep into other things, so I was like, not a 2-hour episode, Jenna. Dial it back.
Yeah, that's crazy though that they would just let any Joe Schmo come in and just run a prison.
Yeah, well,
if they want to.
We'll get into Conley. He'll come back.
He's looking at me with these what looks like would be blue eyes.
Very bright,
very piercing.
Yes. So during this time, Conley set up convict labor programs, which he believed would solve the overcrowding issue and out-of-control inmates. So they would do all of the contract work for the prison.
Like what? Like
building the prison.
They
were literally, building the prison. In 1909, Montana resumed ownership and appointed Conley as the new warden. Not sure why that switch came, but it did. He would spend his career adding and building in hopes he can combat the overcrowding issues and create a place of reform in the wild, wild west.
Wow. Wiggity whoa, wiggity whist.
So if you're looking at the picture, they built sandstone walls to go around the perimeter.
Uh-huh.
And these stand 20 feet above ground. And to combat any escape, they go 4 feet underground as well. Okay. So they built this thing as a fortress. The perimeter has 6 towers, and it literally looks like a medieval castle.
It does.
It
truly does. It's really
very,
kind of a beautiful building.
Yes, very catching.
Yeah. Love old architecture. It's my fave.
I agree. Even like the churches, man, I'll drive by. There's some beautiful cathedrals and churches.
But
man.
Europe is where it's at.
I want to go so bad.
But I'm so mad at America though, because we used to have old buildings too, and not all of them.
A lot of them are
either that or they've been torn down for other things.
Yep. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Of course.
So early in the 1900s, when additions were being added, they decided women should probably be separated from male criminals.
Okay, well that's something.
Yeah. But this only came about because of the women's rights movement that was going through the United States. So early 1900s, those women are like, give us the vote. They're doing their thing. So finally it was like, all right, we should probably separate them, but probably just to keep appearances. Because fuck you.
Nobody cares, really.
No. The women's ward was built on the outside of the perimeter walls. So, yeah, it's very weird. It's like on the outside.
So they weren't afraid that the women were going to escape?
Apparently not, but they were kept in really crappy conditions, so I probably would have wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It said it was small, stuffy, and had no plumbing. Hold on.
No plumbing. Great. That's great for women who have monthly visitors.
Yeah, I know. It must have, well, in the early 1900s, I don't know what plumbing was like in the early 1900s. Probably okay in the cities.
I mean, if they mentioned that it had no plumbing but didn't mention that about the prison itself, you would think that...
That is very true, yeah, that there probably is some sort of plumbing.
Yeah. That's just messed the fuck up, dude.
I agree.
Whoever had to clean it, fuck you guys. Almost it was the prisoners themselves, the women, poor ladies.
I know. But at least this did add a sense of security for the women.
Yeah.
Because there was no separation before.
Yeah.
Like, it probably got really rowdy. It's overcrowded. These criminals are being made to do work so that their behavior is better. So I bet the behavior is awful.
Well, this guy, like you said, they were allowed to pretty much run it however they wanted. There's probably just men... There's probably, like, rape and stuff all the time.
Oh, all the time. All the time. This area in particular of the prison would change in 1959 to a maximum security section because women were moved into their own facilities at that time. That was a thing that was popping up. More women were criminals, I guess. And they were like, oh, they need their own place. Next picture you can look at. Connolly also had a theater built in 1920, the W.A. Clark Theater.
That also looks like it would be a really pretty building in person.
Oh, yeah. It was the first of its kind. Other prisons hadn't thought of putting in theaters or any entertainment like that. It is said that he used it as a disciplinary tool, and if the inmates were acting a fool, they would lose this privilege of going to the theater.
He doesn't, so far, sound like a bad guy, really.
He really wanted to reform the prison. He wanted to make it bigger. He really wasn't. He
got
like
them
a good
working.
Dude.
He's trying to rehabilitate them that way. And now that also leaves them with a skill they can leave the prison with, which is building houses or whatever.
Yep.
And then to build this. And yes, just like children, you discipline them with things like that. I mean... It doesn't sound like... It sounds like he was trying his best. And we separated the women, although you could have given them plumbing.
I agree. We will get into, like... He's the warden for, like, a long time, and his life is... He's got some shit happening to him. We'll get into it. So, the theater played movies, held plays, and was even used for religious gatherings. So, like, once, movies were a bigger thing. Like, now in theaters, you have, like... now in prisons, you have, like, a movie night. Yeah. At least you see that on, like, Orange is the New Black. So this is kind of the same thing. You are bad, get that taken away from you. So, I also read this article from cinematreasures.org. They stated they also use the theater for prison band performances, which led me to research this, and it turns out many prisons, Alcatraz included, had prison bands.
So they provided them with instruments?
Yeah. And then they would learn them and they would just play the music.
That's good
too. I thought that was such a neat factoid. Yeah. Another thing.
I'm surprised by Alcatraz.
According to History.com, Al Capone had played the banjo in the Alcatraz prison band.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's neat.
I took a little spiral and I was like, I am happy I took that spiral. I thought that was super neat.
Al Capanjo at Alcatraz.
Oh, that's what I'm going to call him now.
Al Capanjo.
Oh, okay. So back to Montana. Notable inmates.
Yay. I like these parts.
So I think if you go down, there should be another picture of a guy.
Turkey Pete.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Paul Eitner was sent to Montana State Prison in 1918 to carry out a life sentence for murder.
Okay.
I read some contradicting info on the actual murders, but he was convicted on a murder charge.
And what year was this?
1918.
1918.
Yep.
Okay, I'm trying to make sure I'm staying within 18 or 19.
Yes, well, we're just in the 19s now.
Okay.
So, he was a popular inmate. Like, people liked
Paul
him.
Eitner.
Yes, but they called him Turkey Pete. He was just well liked by people. The guards liked him. He was there for life. You know, he was going to die in this prison, unfortunately. He was given the job of tending the prison turkeys, hence his name Turkey Pete. Okay? He was a model inmate and beloved by everyone, fellow inmates and guards included. Just love the guy. He did develop dementia as he aged, and it's said that he loved telling fellow prisoners colorful stories. Some included how he owned a coffee shop in Brazil and had once sold pink alligators.
Huh. Okay.
Yep. There's like a whole book on this guy, man. He's kind of like famous in a way. I love this part. The guards also humored Eitner, and they let him run, I finger quoted there, in quotes, the prison from his cell. So they printed him little fake checks, and he would pay the expenses from his cell in the prison.
Because he had dementia.
Yeah, and they humored him, you know?
You know, I know that they did awful things to be in here, and he was obviously in prison for murder.
His story is hard, too, because there's like a woman, but then there's another man included in it, and it was like...
At the time period, you don't have good evidence.
Yes. I think he might have confessed to it. I don't think the guy's innocent, really. But still, you know, he's got dementia. He's an older guy living his life out at this prison, you know, and they're humoring him.
They're doing their time, so, I mean, you don't got to treat him like absolute garbage.
And he wasn't violent.
Yeah.
He never got sent to solitaries or anything. Like, he was a model prisoner, this guy. So, personally, my favorite story that I read about Turkey Pete, one day, he was steadily declining into his dementia when a man came to admire the turkeys, which he tended to. He apparently sold the entire flock to this man for 25 cents each. I'm not sure the going rate on a turkey back in like 19 whenever, but yeah.
I wonder what the guards had to say about that. Like, where did all the turkeys go?
Well, he stopped tending turkeys after that. He was
my God.
Nope, you're not doing that. But yeah.
Aw, poor Turkey Pete.
I know. He ended up dying at the prison in 1967, and he was 89. His cell, which was cell number 1, had been retired. They even had a funeral for him, which, according to Legends of America, was the only funeral held within the walls of the prison.
So they never let any other inmate live in that room?
Nope. It was closed down after him. And you can see, so he lived till the 60s. They probably had Trident by that time. That's where the Trident probably came from. Yeah, it's always been my dad's choice of gum.
And they got chapstick on there, on the floor.
Yeah, I'm sure all that stuff was...
I'm curious now. I gotta Google when Trident came out. Because that's probably somebody who freaking visited and ruined it, of course.
No, I don't think so, because it's all barred off. Like, Al Capone, at Eastern State, his cell is, like, the door's completely closed. You just have, like, a window you can kind of look through. So it's pretty protected.
What the fuck? 1964.
See?
What in the world? I thought Trident just...
Nope, people be loving that Trident, man.
I thought it was all like Wrigley's and...
Nope. Well, the Wrigley's probably came out first and then Trident's like,
I went into when Obit came out. I guess that was later. Watch, it probably came out in freaking 80s.
God, who knows? I never know when
always,
stuff...
my mind is blown. Like, I looked up when Dunkin' Donuts started and Tim Hortons. It was literally in, like, the 30s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh?
I watch a show on YouTube, GMM, and they do this game where they, like, shuffleboard and they do, like, chips and, like, different stuff, like, when it came out. And a lot of the times, they're, like, wrong.
Yeah. My mind is blown. We all think that these things are not, like that old.
Butterfinger came out in, like, the 30s or 40s.
Jeez.
I was like, I thought that was a 90s candy. What? Oh, God.
It's pretty interesting.
Yes.
All right.
Learning lots of things here, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so, that was Turkey P. He had a pretty wholesome prison story, I'd say. And we'll come back to him, like, in all the spooky stuff. But now we're going to go to a different topic. So there are other notable inmates that will take me into the next part. Mm-hmm. Escapes or escape attempts.
Escaping.
Yes, which that's most prisons. I mean, people, what do they want to do? I want to escape from prison. Get out of here. So in 1908, there was an escape, and it was really the most notable. And there were some dire consequences.
For escape? Or attempted escape?
Attempted. So Conley was still the warden at the time.
Okay.
And John Robinson was deputy warden. So you just have your warden and then I guess your deputy. It was said that Conley would hold a warden's court, which I guess was like a way to hear the prisoners and keep an open dialogue. So he was trying to fix things. He wanted to hear feedback from his prisoners. That's huge for 1908. It was kind of like a town hall meeting, and they were airing their grievances. Two key players in the event were William Hayes and George Rock. Uh-huh. So while being lined up for the warden's court, Hayes and Rock saw that this was the opportunity. Rock pushed Deputy Warden Robinson, cutting his throat with a contraband knife.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Sorry, Deputy. R.I.P.
Yeah. That's a dangerous job. And meanwhile, Hayes is repeatedly stabbing Connolly.
Oh no.
It's got to be utter chaos, man. Like,
how did they even get close enough to these people?
Because they were getting lined up for Connolly's warden court.
Oh my, yeah, but...
Yeah, but it's also like, I don't think they were like chaining them up like they do nowadays, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, this was like their opportunity because they're getting lined up. They don't have a lot of...
I can't believe their plot included killing the warden and deputy warden.
Well, Conley does manage to get a few shots at Hayes with his pistol, but it's not enough to kill him. And then another guard comes in and finally breaks it up. So it's this other guard that finally comes in. It's a skirmish. Deputy John Robinson sadly passed away from his injuries. He was pretty messed up. They pretty much like stabbed him, I think, like in the neck. Like he was done, unfortunately. Warden Conley nearly died, but 103 stitches later, they were able to stabilize him.
Oh my.
That's a lot of fucking stitches.
Yeah, that's a lot.
A lot of fucking stitches.
Oof.
Yeah. So Hayes and Rock were sentenced to death for their roles in the attempt/murder, and Conley oversaw these executions personally.
I'd say.
He's like, you're done.
Yeah.
And you can see the picture here. I have a little bit of stuff here to teach you about this method that they were killed with. According to Wikipedia, both were hanged with the upright jerker method, which, quote, used a 300-pound weight to jerk the sentenced man from his feet. So basically, they drop the weight, the dude comes flying up, and then it snaps his neck. Or at least that's what's supposed to happen.
What the fuck? That's damn.
It said in both of their hangings it failed. They basically flopped around, slowly dying.
Which happened most cases of hanging anyways, not always where the neck's broken.
Well, yeah, they were trying to do it more humanely, I guess, where it just quickly killed them, but that was not...
You need a heavier rock, bro.
Something,
or a tighter string.
God. So that is how that ended, and I'm sure that's probably attributing to some of that negative energy. The bloodshed, the death of the deputy warden... Rest in peace.
Yeah. And it was like a really
almost
stressful situation.
Connolly dying. Yeah, just chaos, man. And then at the end, they get hung in this way that just doesn't work, and they're just slowly dying a slow death.
Yeah, like a fish on the end of a hook.
Yeah.
In the air.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, just flopping around. Good Lord.
So. Okay. That was the execution of George Rock. That is.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. That picture
I've never heard of that method before.
Crazy. I didn't really either.
So that's something new. Again, we're just learning all sorts of facts.
I know. Facts.
It's Facts Wednesday. Too bad it's not Friday. Well, for you it's Friday, so I could say it's Facts Friday today.
There you go. Facts Friday.
Freaky Facts Friday.
Ooh. All them.
Freaky Friday.
Okay. Little tidbit there. So, the next topic, which is also very synonymous with prisons.
I was wondering what you had said.
Blah, blah. Can lend a hand to the negative energies. Can you guess what that is? What happens at prisons? Kinda.
A lot of stuff.
Something that would cause energy. A riot. Yes.
Prison
we are
riot.
going to 1959.
Okay.
And things were not great at this prison. Okay? If you go to the next page on your picture document, you'll see these two knuckleheads.
Gentlemen. You got one older dude and one younger dude. He looks like he's
a
25.
Baby. I know. So, most of the programs...
Oh my God. That dude's nose is fucked.
They're both...
It looks like the first dude's nose is just completely smushed in the middle.
Yeah, they're both just... He probably broke it a shit ton of times.
Oh my God. It's terrible.
Ugh. Yeah. So, most of the programs that were started by Warden Conley, prison jobs, expansion projects, were stopped, and funding was barely there. They didn't have the money anymore. The state owned it, and they could control the money that was coming into the prison, obviously. So that stuff just was like, nope, you're just here to live out your life. We're not going to try anything, new. The warden was Floyd Powell. Say that 10 times fast. And at the time, he really also believed in reform. So he once said, quote, "The prison was a tension-ridden, overcrowded, disorganized mess, a powder keg set to explode at the slightest provocation." So when he came into this prison, it was bad. Things were not good. And he did believe, I'm going to try to reform this prison and make it a livable place for these people. With all of this buildup and poorly trained guards, inedible food, and no outlets, the riot of 1959 commenced.
Okay.
The leaders or organizers were Jerry Miles and Lee Smart. Some sources said it was an escape attempt, but I read somewhere else that Jerry Miles just wanted to be famous and did not care if some people wound up dead.
So he wanted to be famous for this prison riot.
I guess, yeah. That's just something I read.
Yeah.
It was also mentioned that he owned the prison. He was like a guy that a lot of people feared. This guy was kind of manipulated to do these things. This guy was just head honcho, so to say, of the other prisoners. All right, so we're gonna get into it. This is fucking bonkers, okay? I just want to get into this. This is bonkers. Don't scroll down anymore yet.
Okay.
From these, because there's something coming up that's fucking bonkers.
Okay. To their faces.
So, with stolen rifles, they push in and kill Deputy Warden Ted Roth.
Jeez. Second deputy warden.
Yep. And I don't know how you get stolen rifles, but I guess in the 50s that's easy to do.
I know. What the...
They also take many inmates and prison employees hostage, including Warden Powell himself. He does eventually get let out by an inmate. He's kind of talking to him, don't do this, you don't have to do this. We can expunge any charges if you help me out of here. Other inmate gets him out. 200 members of the National Guard arrived, and they completely surrounded the prison. Miles and Smart started to get a bit worried that the jig was up, because literally everything is just surrounded. They have guns. They're the military.
Yeah.
These guys weren't as...
They're no match for that.
No, and I don't think they planned that well.
No.
So...
Lee Smart was not less smart.
No, not at all. So Miles sends out word that all the hostages will be killed if the National Guard storms the prison. The governor, Aronson, he was basically not giving in to any of these demands. You know, from inside the prison, he's like, you guys are prisoners. I'm not doing this. I have the National Guard there.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just storm. Once the National Guard discovers that Miles and Smart are holed up in a different area of the prison, so hostages are on a different side, and in fact, they're in the North Tower. They devise a plan. This plan is fucking bonkers. So you can go down. They send 2 shots from a bazooka. Yep, I said bazooka.
Getting this stuff
into the tower, so that way it causes confusion and they can storm into the prison. So the North Tower, which you can see a picture,
So they shot it with a bazooka from the inside to the outside. Or you're talking about...
No, the National Guard shot the bazooka.
I thought
that was
you
their
meant...
plan. No.
I thought you meant...
You thought they got a bazooka?
Yeah, that's how I'm like, how the fuck did they get a bazooka?
Even the military, don't be using a bazooka.
I know. Okay, so the National Guard.
The National Guard, yes.
Okay,
So that was, they devised a plan. That was their plan, was to just shoot this bazooka into the wall. So as you can see from the picture of the North Tower, those bazooka marks are still there. It completely...
That's cool.
Indented the prison.
Yeah. Demolished those bricks.
Yes. So the plan did work. Some of the National Guardsmen get in and rescue the hostages. That's like their top priority while the confusion is still going on. After rescuing the hostages, they storm the tower. Now, things start to get pretty fucking chaotic here. Lieutenant Francis Pullman of the National Guard is wounded by Smart as he shoots from the window. So he's running in and Smart just starts shooting from the window. Miles realizes as the officers are closing in that he will not allow capture. He's like the mastermind, this fucking asshole. He's like, I'm not getting caught. He ends up shooting Smart, then turning the gun and killing himself. Murder-suicide.
Oh my God.
Right at the top of that North Tower.
I can't believe he shot the kid.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not getting caught for this. I'm not getting...
Why would he shoot the kid? Unless that was their plan.
I think it was. This kid was brainwashed by this man. He was like his little lackey.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this guy had like power. So he probably like talked him into it. Yeah, it's all a mess. They were discovered at the top of the stairs by Ed Ellsworth, who slipped on the bloody mess left behind. So he's like coming up the wall, and there's just blood everywhere. It's on the walls. It's sprayed. It was everywhere, man. Just insane amount of energy has to be in that tower.
Oh God, yeah. And not just it. I mean, the walls themselves. Are embedded with it.
Yeah, it's deadly.
Yeah.
The riot in total lasted 36 hours and left 3 dead, multiple wounded.
Well, did the 3 include Miles and...
Yes.
Okay, so there's
so
one
it was
hostage that was killed. The deputy.
It was...
Was that other deputy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, and then Miles and Smart.
Okay.
A couple were wounded, but they pretty much got out of it.
Good.
That's why it was a failed attempt. These guys were not... I don't think they planned very well.
I don't think so either.
No, just had guns and went crazy.
I mean, no one else ended up dead except for them. And then, of course, the guy, the one deputy, but... But
still, 36 hours of a standoff, that town... Yeah. Imagine being in that little tiny town that surrounds this prison.
Tiny town, yeah.
Freaking out, man, because your family's in there. Like, the warden, when he was in there, you know, his wife was probably outside freaking out. Like, my husband's in there. Is he shot? Is he dead?
Yeah.
They're not negotiating. Like, it's... that would be a fucking mess. I mean, Attica prison, notably around us, had that huge riot. And it was deadly. And it lasted a long time. There's a movie. You can watch it. I don't know if I have. I think I have.
I don't think I have.
They like shout, Attica, Attica. Yeah. It's fucking bonkers.
I'm going to look up what it's called now. I'm like curious.
Yeah. It's nuts. So this tower, which, you know, is just death, was given a charming nickname. Got any guesses?
The Tower of Death.
Close. Death Tower.
Oh, it's supposed to be my first thing, and I decided to say it the other way.
We just kind of took that part out. So yes, you can see that tower in the picture, and you can see the bazooka marks literally taken right fucking out of it. And that is still here to this day. All right, so we'll get more into the spooky places. But before that, I do want to mention that there are some areas that are just icky kind of places that I just kind of read about, and I was like, what? So there are 2 cells called the black box cells.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
It's not. These cells are completely blacked out. No windows, no door, nothing, completely blacked out. And apparently they would lock inmates in for 1 to 3 days and would place them on a bread and water diet. So it's like a solitary, but on crack.
I'd be okay if I just ate bread for 3 days.
I mean, so would I, but not. Bread. I know, so do I. I fucking love bread.
Oh my god.
I had Sean.
My demise.
Well, Sean is not after my own heart. We had pesto last night, and I was like, oh, we should bring home, like, some type of bread. Yeah. He's like, I don't like bread.
What?
I know.
How does a person just not like bread?
I would have never married him. Just kidding.
You non-bread lover.
I love bread. Okay.
Okay, anyways, they ate bread and water, which we would be fine with, but they had bread and water for 3 days straight.
3 days straight in this completely pitch black, tiny little cell. Like, that's enough to go insane.
I'd go insane because I couldn't see my bread to eat it.
Exactly. Exactly.
How do I know if I'm biting the crust or the bread?
Oh, solitary with lights is one thing.
Yeah, solitary with absolutely nothing is another.
No, completely different. Like, that's, no.
Terrifying.
Yeah, so...
Especially in a big prison.
Oh, God, a huge prison. Yeah. So, that's the basic history of the prison.
That's quite a history for not long.
For 100 years, It was just like boom, 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 boom. People are dying. There's some wardens that are trying to make things happen, but they're just fighting. And I don't think they ever got the prison to really be as big as it needed to be. It was overcrowded just all the time.
And the Conley dude, you know, he was really trying for the prisoners, like, better...
And got 103 stitches because of this escape attempt. Jeez. Gosh, traumatizing, man. Oh, traumatizing. So, you ready for some paranormal stuff?
I am.
Okay, let's get spooky.
Spookapalooza.
Okay. So first and foremost, this place is said to be very haunted and not for the, quote, faint of heart.
Good thing we got good hearts.
They basically, it's said that, like, if you're a newer paranormal person... This is intense. This place is scary. Be careful. Given the dark, violent history that happened inside these walls, I can see why.
Yeah.
Many report hearing disembodied voices, or help me, echo through the old buildings, and some voices telling visitors to get out.
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's when you know you should stay.
Or the kill me or kill you. Ugh,
kill.
No. No, thank you. Feeling a choking sensation is also very common in this location, and many have emerged with cuts and scrapes as well. So it's physical. Yeah. It's not just a whisper. They're touching you. They're hurting you. They're not happy.
No, these are very tormented souls.
They're not afraid to get physical.
Mm-hmm.
Empaths who enter the prison have reported a feeling of intense anxiety and a feeling of dread. Mm-hmm. So basically what the prisoners were feeling, you know, imagine especially going to prison,
the riot and all that.
Yeah, it's just an anxiety-ridden place anyway, you know, and dreadful. So this place was notorious for being harsh on inmates, and inmates pretty much knew what they were in for. You know, if you were sent to Montana, you knew, fuck, this isn't going to be fun.
I wonder if, like, Carl was there during any of that stuff.
Maybe.
That's so interesting.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
So, some notable locations for activity are the Hole, which is basically solitary confinement. Inmates were sent there if they were especially bad, and
was that different than the other place? than the other dark place?
Yes. So those were the 2 different cells, and then they had the hole.
Okay.
I don't know what the difference was. I guess you had to be extra bad to get sent to the black hole.
I guess so.
Because, so the hole, it was bad.
A couple different bad holes.
And I have it written here. It was not perfectly splendid.
It was not perfectly splendid.
It was not perfectly splendid.
No.
No.
I would say.
They would often be kept in for weeks. Like, just constant in the hole for weeks. This area, visitors claim to be attacked and pushed. They also hear faint whispers, like, surrounding them. Just hearing it. Just, God, chills. Yeah, just imagine. And especially in that creepy place, you know, the hole. Ooh. Yeah. So, Turkey Pete.
All alone. Oh, Turkey Pete's back.
So, Turkey Pete's cell is also said to be super haunted. It's located in the 1912 cell block. And I read that a tour guide at the museum, they think Turkey Pete just never left. He's always been here. He's in his cell. He's making noises. They feel him there. So, you know. And it's nice that, like, they kept his cell the way it was, because it's just like he's still there.
It
you know, that's all he knew.
Energy attached to it.
Exactly. And it's like, if he died of dementia, who knows? You know, hopefully he got his faculties back. But still, you know, just a place to go. The most active area is said to be the maximum security building, which this was the women's ward back in the day.
Yeah.
The female spirits never left.
They were pissed about that freaking no plumbing shit, man. God
and now there's no plumbing again. God darn it.
I know. Luckily now they don't need it.
I know. So this area, it said you can be touched, and you should expect to be touched, because that's just very normal. And
well, sure, these were women prisoners. They were reaching out.
Men.
Some stuff.
Men report feeling like they're being caressed.
Nice.
Like, these women ghosts are feeling up these men coming through their prison. Like, ooh, what are you doing here?
We should go with Sean and Gustavo and be like, do you feel anything?
Yes, we totally should. Oh my gosh. We'll go to, like, the male portions, because usually they like the women, and then they can go to the female. One. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the same place, others have reported being physically knocked off their feet by something that was not there.
Jeez.
Yeah. This place is intense, dude. Like, it's not for the faint of heart. Like,
I want to go so bad.
I want to go too, but, like, my heart's kind of racing a little bit too. Like, oh gosh. I definitely feel this is a supremely haunted place. There are so many different blogs and websites that go over this place in fine detail, because it's scary. It's fucking scary. And
what's the image of the last picture you have there?
Let me see.
Just what the rooms look like now.
Oh, yes. That is just basically what it looks like now. Yeah. I couldn't find in pictures, like, actual evidence pictures, unfortunately. Yeah. This place is more of just, like, accounts and what visitors have. Maybe I can do a deep dive before we put it on the blog and see if I can find at least a couple pictures.
It looks like the picture that you took it from was from Ghost Adventures. So if you guys are interested, just go watch the episode of Ghost Adventures.
Yes, there is. Also, Destination Fear, which is a really great show on Travel Channel. They go there as well, and it is fascinating as fuck.
So yeah, check those episodes out if you're looking to see some more.
I don't think I had it written in here. Yeah, but you can watch those. I don't have the episode written down.
Just Google it.
But that's the scary ass Montana State Prison.
That sounds real scary.
Yeah. And I think so it closed down in the 70s.
Okay.
Basically just different facilities were being used at the time. It was kind of archaic as they, I guess, saw it. The theater had a fire in the 70s as well. Yeah, so, like, if you walk in there, you can, like, see all those damages.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's a shame that, like I said, like, that somebody couldn't have kept care of that building.
I know.
It's a beautiful building.
From others that I've seen, the building is pretty good. It's not too bad. Like, those sandstone walls will probably stay up.
Oh, yeah, I'm
forever.
Sure.
And everything else was pretty much made
And the brick.
From, you know, organic materials. So it is in pretty good shape. Like, of course, the walls are peeling. That is, like, the first thing to happen at all these places.
Yeah.
Well,
but the paint that they used was, like, lead paint. So I'm sure it probably would peel easier.
That's why everyone wears, like, masks when they go into these places.
True.
Because it's, like...
The asbestos.
They were closed down before it was ever, like, you need to start taking that shit out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it.
That was very interesante, and I appreciate you telling me the story because I haven't heard much about that prison.
No, I didn't either.
I might have seen it on like a Ghost Adventures episode or something, but I don't remember, and so...
I think I remember the bazooka part of that episode because they do show it. And I was like, that is so bizarre. Why are you pulling out a bazooka?
Now I will definitely remember it because I thought you were talking about the inmates somehow.
I wish the inmates had a bazooka. That would have changed it tenfold.
Oh, yeah.
But no, they got caught and
killed himself and his friends.
So. Ensued. So, yeah, prisons. There's also a true crime element, guys.
Yes, there you go. Murder-suicide. Happy day.
Well, that's it until next Freaky Friday.
Well, hope you have a good one.
Yes, and please, you know, follow us on our social pages. We want to talk to you. We want to engage with you.
Yes, we do.
So you can find us on Facebook at
More Than Murder.
Find us on Twitter at
_murder.
And find us on the Instagram at
More Than Murder Pod.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, do. Hit those buttons.
Hit it. Also, if you have any comments or show ideas, please write us in. Or just say hi. We want to say hi.
We posted our... go ahead. What? What'd you say?
I was just saying, you can do that at morethanmurderpod@gmail.com.
Yes, send us those emails.
Please.
Emails to the Gmail. Okay? And we just posted our first ever YouTube video. We showed our pea pod a little bit.
Maybe you've seen that already.
You might have already because we also posted it on Facebook. So...
And that's weeks away.
Yes, it is. We will be posting more, so keep your eyes peeled. We'll post a link, and then you'll be able to follow us there, too.
Yes, the YouTube.
Yes, if you just like sitting there at night watching stuff, we'll be there for you to watch.
Yeah.
Fun.
See you next week.
See ya.
Bye.